No, I think the time is opportune. For the last 2 years, the Congress party and some part of the opposition has been obstructionist. They're hurting the future of our children. They're hurting the future of young people in this country because creation of jobs and economic growth is a priority number one. Politics should pay subservient to that. And the government which pushed UPA government which pushed the GST is now becoming the main barrier on very frivolous grounds. Of course, the BJP played obstructionist in the last parliament and they should be condemned, and many of us condemned it. But now, coming to being in the opposition, they should have supported it. For very frivolous reasons, shut down parliament is not acceptable because we should not allow political parties to play with the future of young people in this country. Today, the biggest challenge for India is the lack of jobs. You have 10 crore young people who attained the age of majority in the last 10 years without jobs. There's the Jat agitation, the Gujar agitation, the Patel agitation, the Kama agitation. In the whole of Middle India, there's a huge amount of anger and fervor against lack of jobs. The Kashmir issue is basically a lack of jobs. The Northeast issue is a lack of jobs. So to protect our country, to make sure that we remain as a single country, we must promote growth. And GST is a means to do that because GST will reduce costs. GST will make sure that the transaction costs come down and GST will create one single national market. We are not one single national market and so many people have struggled. So I'm very happy that now that Mamta Didi has come to power, she has said she'll do it. She's asked Amit Mitra to make sure it happens. And down south, our Amma is also, I think, politically inclined to make it happen because she understands the thing. Jaitley ji is now changing it, Prime Minister changing it. I hope Mr. Chidambaram and others support this because they worked on it. I'm sure Dr. Manmohan Singh will support it because he's struggled long for it. It is his dream. So I'm very confident it will happen now.
What do you make of the whole controversy over the GDP numbers? People are saying that there are a lot of discrepancies in the numbers at this point of time.
This is the leftists and left-of-center economists and others who are not happy about India's progress, who comment on this and try to rubbish it. Look, the CSO is an independent organization. They get data independently. They make mistakes. It's independent. The government does not control it. The CSO is never controlled by the government. The UPA was there, they're not controlled. And the new methodology was brought in by the UPA. By the time they released the numbers, the UPA was thrown out of power, but it's done by the UPA. And after the new government has come, I don't think anybody has interfered. Now you can come and say methodology, you can crave about some discrepancy because the new system, they don't have back data, but to question it and say government is manipulating, government is this, is total rubbish. I think it's a piece of rubbish. You can debate with CSO, so we want this data, have a look at it, perfectly fine. And CSO has said that the database is not fine. Earlier also the database is not fine. It's a very, very narrow. See, we need to invest in statistical system. We need to invest in more data gathering. For example, much of our data is based upon the 2004-5 series, which is antiquated. India has changed tremendously in the last 10 years. Now this come to 11-12, which is very, very good. But other areas are based on 2004-5. The inflation figures are based on 2004-5. The cost of living is based. The things have to be changed. So I think it's good to have a debate, but let's not rubbish. Let's not attribute motives. Let's say that, look, on technical grounds, we want this, we want that. That's perfectly fine. I believe the GDP is strong. How can you explain 12% increase, 17% increase in taxes, 12% increase in secular taxes last year and this year? Even the first 2 months, even though the IPR shows. And if you look at the IPR numbers, 30% decline is because of insulated cable and some electronic matter. Insulated cables cannot shake IPR in this country. It's ridiculous. They cannot shake. It's not such a large production. It's got very small. It's no impact. So I think, we need better sense in this country.
Talking about the whole issue about Rajiv Bansal, Infosys CFOs, the issue of high pay coming in at this point of time, do you think for a company like Infosys, which follows high levels of corporate government, this comes as a disappointment?
Yeah, I'm personally disappointed at the lack of transparency in the payment to Rajiv. Rajiv is undoubtedly a great CFO, but the company has paid him money, 23 crores, very large amount of money. And they didn't pay me when I left. They didn't pay Bala when we left. We never even discussed that. The board didn't take it. Now the same board or maybe part of the board has given 23 crores and they must explain why they felt it necessary to give 23 crores to somebody who's stepping down, especially the CFO. The audit committee chair should come public and say why it happened. Because it is a question of the credibility of the great company which sets standards. The audit committee cannot hide behind this. The chairman of the company says I should come before the public and talk about it and say why it has happened. Because there are a lot of rumors going around and I don't like these rumors, and he must clarify to protect the integrity of a great institution built by a lot of people led by Murthy and others. It is just not done. And I think the shareholders should demand from the chairman and the audit committee chairman, they come and say why this has been paid, what are the reasons, and is it a norm to pay? Tomorrow somebody senior comes, are they going to give him a golden parachute? Why did it happen?
So do you think that in this regard, at least Vishal Sikka as well as Narayan Murthy should really come into the center and take this matter in the hand?
No, I think Murthy is out of the company and there's good news. He must good the future. Sheshashai is now the chairman. As the chairman of the company, he has a responsibility to the shareholders why it happened. And the audit committee chair should do it because the CFO reports to the audit committee. I don't know who is the audit committee chair. Who is the chair should come clean and tell people. Because, as shareholders, we must demand the highest level of standards from the best company in India, the company which has set standard for the last 20 years. Nothing less should happen. And I think, they have a duty to us. I hope they do it.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.